What is going on, guys? Today I'm gonna be doing a video of top 3 best budget CPUs in best budget to mid-range CPUs in 2020. So the year 2020 have really come to the end, and we have seen lots of CPUs that are, what I could say, good value for the price. There are also lots that are disappointed our consumer this year. But today it's about top 3 best budget CPUs of the year 2020 that you guys should watch out for your next budget PC. So let's get into it. Alright. So the first option here is the number 3 on our list is gonna be Ryzen 3 3100 slash Ryzen 3 3300X. So why do I put these CPUs on the same tier? Since okay, so let me explain to you guys something. Alright, let me explain to you guys something. So Ryzen 3 3100 at launch it meant to be $20 less than the Ryzen 3 3300X, but from time to time the price of the 3300X have gone up kind of massively. So now the range is, the price difference is no longer $20, it's more like $40 to $50 now. So is it worth the extra cash that you should spend? Then if at first launch, if I would put on the list, I definitely not gonna put the 3100, but now since the price of the 3300X have gone up, I put them into the same tier. So the 3100 after launch, it has, the price has dropped kind of a lot. In some places, maybe in some places it's not, but some places the price does drop a bit. So I think it's a really good value. For this CPU you could do what I could say. You could do gaming, you could do light video editing if you want to. Also, since 4 cores 8 threads, the clock speed is up to 3.9 gigahertz. Okay, so for example, if you pair this CPU with a really good B450 or B550 motherboard, then the overclocking potential of this CPU is actually really high, and could probably overclock it to somewhere like 4.3 gigahertz like the 3300X and get maybe not similar performance, but like, yeah, if you like to overclocking 3100, I mean, yeah, the option is there definitely. So yeah, so how about the situation of the 3300X? So the 3300X, it's a CPU, it's a better version of the 3100, of course. So it's still 4 cores 8 threads, but the boost clock is now 4.3 gigahertz and the base clock is 3.8 gigahertz. 3100 base clock 3.6 gigahertz here. So the IPC performance of the 3300X is gonna be slightly better, and you could easily see and tell in some titles like CS:GO. If you turn on multi-threaded rendering, then definitely you can see that. But in some countries, the 3300X, the price is kind of overpriced, and the price is really close to the Ryzen 5 3600. So yeah, so I'm not sure if it's still worth it, but I'm still gonna put it on the top 3 list here. Alright, So now let's move on to our number 2. For the price of it's around 180 US dollars, or around like 200 US. Yeah, maybe 180, 200 US. The price, I would say that it's reasonable price for a CPU like this. I've got 6 cores, 12 threads, a base clock of 2.9 gigahertz, which isn't high, but it got a boost clock of 4.3 gigahertz. Maybe on all cores it will reach like 4 gigahertz. So yeah. So for this CPU, I would say this CPU is gonna target it for gamers and video editors who uses Adobe Premiere Pro, since that program will utilize the Intel UHD Graphics 630, which has the Intel QuickSync encoder on it. So if you're interested to do a bit of video editing, then I'll say i5 10400 is really good option. And also in gaming performance, i5 10400, if you're gonna say, so okay, the thing is, most people who are gonna buy i5 10400 is gonna pair it up with a B460 motherboard. In that case, the RAM is capped at 2666. So what's the problem? You can't run RAM at 3200 megahertz or 3600 megahertz. So maybe you might lose out a bit of performance in some program, in some games. So that's kind of a deal breaker. It's kind of a bad thing about this if you're gonna go with Intel. So yeah, but overall, it's if you don't do mostly gaming, I think it's a better choice than Ryzen 5 3600 here. Okay, so yeah, now it's time to move on to our next CPU. So we all know which CPU is it. It's definitely gonna be the Ryzen 5 3600. Yes, this CPU was released back in like July 2019, which was last year, and even by today's standard, it's still a really good CPU. It's still really good value. The price is very close to the i5 10400. Maybe it's even more, but I think it still is worth it. Let me tell you why. First of all, B450 motherboards are cheaper than B460, and what the features you're getting is better, right? So you get RAM that's uncapped. Yeah, so you can run RAMs like 3200 megahertz very easily on B450, while on B460 it's limited to 2666 on Intel Core i5 and i3. So also another thing is that Ryzen 5 3600, though it's still 6 cores, 12 threads, but if you're doing tasks like rendering and some video editing, maybe not in Adobe Premiere Pro, but like in most cases that you need multi-threaded, then this CPU is gonna do better than the i5 10400 by 10 to 15%. Even in some cases 20%. Like, that's just wow. So why is that? Both have 6 cores, 12 threads and very similar clock speed. So how come that this one performs better? Okay, let me tell you what. Because of the L3 cache that's inside this CPU, it's 32 megabytes, while is the i5 is 12 megabyte. Yeah, Intel Smart Cache is like L3 cache. So you see, this cache, a lot of people might say, some Intel fanboy might say, um, well guys, L3 cache just really doesn't help much in productivity at all. That's totally wrong. If you do multi-threaded tasks, then definitely L3 cache is gonna help significantly. Help, you know, significantly. And okay, so if you guys are gamer, how about if you guys are gamer? So if you guys are gamers, then the performance between Ryzen 5 3600 and i5 10400. Okay, I'm gonna be a little biased here. So Ryzen 5 3600 with 3200 megahertz RAM will perform better than, will perform similarly to the i5 10400 with 2666 megahertz RAM. Yeah, since B450, even A320 will support 3200 megahertz RAM. So yeah, so yeah, that's, so if you have a Ryzen 5 3600 with 3200 megahertz RAM, then the performance is gonna be, in gaming, is gonna be very similar, and you get better performance in productivity and 3D rendering if you're interested in that. You guys are learning stuff like that, and sure. So yeah, right now on the market, there's still lots of options out there, but I don't think that it's worth it. You know, there's some honorable mentions like i5 9600K, but the thing with that CPU is that you need to buy another CPU cooler, Z390 motherboard. I mean, you could pair it with B365, but then what's the point? Point of the K CPU anymore, right? Also, there's some option like i3 10100, but to be honestly, Ryzen 3 3100 is just a better choice overall. So yeah, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and smash the thumbs up and subscribe to see more content from my channel. Alright.